Hey guys, welcome back to Brothers Off Script. I'm Jerry.
I'm Ryan.
And we are talking about what if some crap happens to you?
What if it happens to all of us?
What if it happens to all of us? So this week has been absolutely intense in the news.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit before the show about how Trump said, you know, if Korea's dictator launches missiles and runs his mouth.
Keeps threatening.
He's going to unleash fire and fury. And then this morning he said that we're locked and loaded and military assets are ready. And then Kim Jong-un says, I'm going to launch missiles at Guam because, you know, Guam did something to him at some point.
Yeah.
And that would basically be the dumbest thing he could do because...
Definitely. I mean, it would definitely be retaliatory. Like, we would definitely come back at him. But what if he did? I mean, the government's taken steps. Trump is the mouthpiece, and he's got to say some things every once in a while to maintain his personal position. And, I mean, I think if anyone threatened me personally, I'd probably say something before I did something. But... like I own a gun now, and I think I'm prepared in some ways for a situation that might require the use of that gun. But at the same time, it's not something I want to happen.
Sure.
But it's just, what if it did, and I didn't have it? Then I'd have to be, let's say everything came out okay, and I could say, oh, all right, well, the gun wouldn't have made a difference. But if it did... I'm glad I have it. Whether I ever pull the trigger or not, I'm glad I have it for that reason.
And we've talked about, the importance of having tools or having a culture pile or, thinking about your own education. And, preparedness is a huge topic. It certainly is. And we're not experts on that. But the idea of being responsible enough to consider what if things happen and what is your response to it rather than being ignorant, it's a big deal. Yeah. I don't want to, I think to your point, you mentioned earlier, I don't want to have 10 years of food either.
Right.
Right? I don't want to have this giant hoard of arms and ammunition. But if you don't have something, anything.
Good store of canned food.
If you have no plan, we've even talked, they even teach the little kids in school, hey, if the volcano erupts or if there's an earthquake, or now they teach them, hey, if there's an armed shooter in the school, this is our plan, and then and we don't criticize that, but as a society, it's very interesting how all of a sudden, or maybe not all of a sudden, but like it's become people who prepare for bad things to happen a lot of times they get degraded as somehow that they're doing something wrong.
The actual prepper, if you can have that title as being a prepper, it's I've built a bunker and you don't know where it's at, and if everything goes down, I've got a plan and
a bug out bag and a bug out vehicle, and
I'm not stopping for anybody, and this is why I have the extra large roll cage or the bumper guard so I can take out the herd of zombies or whatever it is. Like, there's all these fantastical scenarios, but in a real world scenario like Korea or somebody throwing a bomb at us, the government's taking some actions towards like having a missile defense system, and they're testing it, and they're proving that it works. And I think that is partially to show anyone else, hey, it'd be a waste of your time, and we will get our missiles to you faster than you can get your missiles to us, but also to reassure us as citizens that we're not under a tremendous threat. Even Guam has a missile defense system installed there a few years ago, I heard on the radio. So the worst case scenario always exists. There's always something worse than a flat tire. There's always something worse than being late for work. There's always something worse than the person you care about the most not making it home. But what do you do for, just day-to-day life without having to worry about those types of things? You just go about your business. Like, somebody who pulls up to a red light and in order to not slow down the whole flow of traffic, I would assume that they're just trying to be good Samaritans and not sit there and look at their cell phone when the light turns green, but that they continually roll into the intersection in the attempt to beat the light and not have to sit on their brake for 4 seconds, and then, oh wait, the light's still red, now I gotta wait, light turns green 2 seconds later, they're not ready to go because they just moved their foot 4 inches to the left. So be prepared to move when it's time. Don't get ahead of yourself trying to be over prepared. Have a basic plan. Don't just be, I don't want to think about the bad things that might happen. Think about it. Like I thought about it a long time ago. If the apocalypse happened, and everybody says the zombie apocalypse, but if the apocalypse of, let's say, a power failure, like no power whatsoever, I got LED lights that are charged up and ready to go, and I test them on a regular basis so I can have light in my house. You never know how important that is when the power goes out. It's so annoying to be looking at all those tea light candles that you bought over preparedly for every scenario because they were super cheap and you got 5,000 of them, but they put out 0 lumens. What
Very
the heck?
true. I don't know what the deal is with a tea light candle, why the tea light makes no light. You light about 10 of them and put them on your mantle, and you
warm a teacup. That is the purpose of a tea light candle, I think. But it's not enough to.
If it's not, tell us in the comments.
Buy it in bulk and hope that it works. Like spend $5 on one of those little 20 packs of AAA light or flashlights or something, and you're going to be well off when it comes to that situation.
It's really interesting that so many people, I think also, to your point, just don't bother. Like they just won't even, they won't show up to work on time. They won't get their taxes done. They won't get their tabs renewed. They won't have their insurance card in their car because they couldn't be bothered. And there's always areas that any of us can do better in, but thinking about the things that matter, even like thinking about your career and saying, hey, I want to do something to get better at some point down the line. Having a plan and then executing the plan. I just don't understand. I guess I just hope that I can teach my kids that level of preparedness, that level of knowledge, that is important. Not to be scared.
No.
Right? Not to go through life afraid that everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket in any given moment.
But to understand that something can happen is a lot better than just assuming it won't or overdoing it to the point where you're so afraid to go outside, like you're agoraphobic and you're not. Like I don't want to interact with anybody because I don't want to become friends with them because then I'll have to let them know what the bunker is, and then I'll have to
I think that's
provide
wrong.
extra food, and it's like
I think that's wrong. Like you shouldn't be planning to,
who doesn't
myrtleize your friends and neighbors because they're not on your who's who list. I mean, there's a limit to where preparing is to me at least it makes sense, but thinking about how things can go wrong, and to me that even includes being aware of the news. I hear so many people, I won't listen to the news. I just won't even bother.
It's all bad.
And
it's
they're
all
just
Trump, or it's all.
Well, yeah, but it's not Trump. It's not Obama. It's not Clinton. It's not like the world exists, and you being ignorant of the world doesn't make your life better. In my opinion, it's just it doesn't help you to not understand how the world works.
Yeah. But it is important too to who you listen to.
It is, but inspiration can come from, I believe, inspiration can come from a variety of sources. And humans are these like amazing pattern finders and idea generators. And so you see people with completely different kinds of information coming up with completely novel solutions to problems. Shark Tank is perfect for this. You watch Shark Tank and you're like, they made what? What did they, like, I can't believe that. The guy who invents the tent that sits over your lawn chair for a sports game when your kid's, sports game gets rained out. Well, that sounds handy. I want one of those. The guy who makes shrink wrap gift wrap that you run with a hairdryer, you got to Google it. But,
I haven't seen that one yet.
But they're inventions and they're amazing things, and they come from all these wide variety of ideas. And so learning about the world, anybody can be an inventor, anybody can be prepared, anybody can think about what's happening out there and
it's like
do better.
Somebody recognized a long time ago in regards to patterns that there's something like 4 seasons, and one of them is hot for most people. And then it gets hot, and they said, I should make something that keeps it cool. So we should condition the air. It's an air conditioner, and yeah, it's an investment, but then you don't have to worry so much about it being hot anymore because you got a place that's not hot.
It's interesting how much of our time like we'll spend on the weather.
Yeah.
We'll spend conversation on the weather, and then just because that's just how it is. I almost think it's because we used to be this super farm country,
Right.
and we just haven't really collectively got it out of our brains yet. We all grow up listening to our parents talk about the weather, and so we just talk about the weather like by habit, by instinct.
I thought all food came in cans or packaged at the store.
And not at once upon a time. I guess just for my kind of closing thoughts, I think that preparedness is important. I'm certainly not as prepared for everything as I want to be. I don't have every tool I want to have. I don't have as much food or water stored as I would like to have. I haven't planned out every scenario, but I also don't want my kids to live in fear of the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Because there are things you can control, and there are causes and special issues you can control, and there are things you can't control. And finding that balance to be happy where you are, and also be prepared for things if things go wrong, it's super important. And I hope I can find that balance with them.
Okay. Well, I'd say you need 4 things. You need a good machete, close range, long range, and some way to start fire, and you'll probably be okay.
I like it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Give us a share and a like and a thumbs up and all that good stuff. And
if you subscribe, make sure you hit the little bell notification. That's how you get notified when there's a new video that comes out. So thanks for watching. Have a great week.
See you next time.